This was a setup move. Handspring, she's way off to the side. There's no way she could even begin to do a layout out of that.
Turned sideways, thought it was going to be a cartwheel.
Here's her dismount. Laid out on the first somersault, pulls it in to a pike, a little low on the landing.
Diana Dudova waiting now for her partner, Lubomir Geraskov.
And he's working beautifully across the horse. Very, very extended double leg circles. See how free his hips are from the pommels. A very simple break into his scissors. And here comes his flare work. Wow. Flare. Oh, right to a handstand, down to the end, back into flare work. That's a very innovative dismount. Now he's stuck there. That's a little bit of a deduction, but this is a very innovative dismount sequence.
I liked it.
That was impressive. You know, we said how Japan has dropped in men's competition. Bulgaria has really come on strong. They were 4th at the World Championships in Rotterdam, and they were within striking distance of a medal. They're really moving up in men's gymnastics. Now, here's this flare. Right down to the end of the horse. Full turn. Very, very consistent. He's very stable on that flare sequence. That's hard to do that.
The women's program has moved up as well, and here's a case in point. This combination after one rotation was in 6th. That means there are 2 teams worse than they were after one rotation. The door isn't closed yet. Only the top 3 do get into the final round, but I don't think the scores that they net will be worthy of an advancement. 9-1-7-5 the score for Diana Dudova. She performed on the balance beam and did have the fall.
1-7-5.
And now we are waiting for the score for Lubomir Geraskov.
Lubomir Geraskov of Bulgaria, it is 9.85.
And I can hear through our public address announcer Jan Clare that he gets a 9.85. So the Bulgarians will wind up finishing after 2 rotations. We will bring you up to date as to the top 3 teams that are advancing. The USA is definitely in it. In fact, they're on top.
For your entertainment, ladies.
You can see the standings. The United States leading going into the final round. They will advance along with the Soviet Union and Romania. This is the 3rd and final rotation for this competition. Now, there are some interesting things that we felt you should know about gymnastics, not just men's but women's gymnastics as well in the United States. For instance, to make an elite gymnast, it costs $5,000 to $10,000 a year just in travel and expenses. For an athlete to maintain its eligibility, the athlete must establish a trust fund. And for some other interesting facts, we've prepared this feature for you. In women's gymnastics, the 1984 Olympians have retired. Today, Christy Phillips is one of America's best gymnasts, as is 15-year-old Phoebe Mills. These 2 competitors represent America's best hopes for a medal at the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul, Korea. Melissa Marlowe of Rocky Mountain Gymnastics is also a strong performer for the USA. And before the Olympic team trials in August, there will be some other new faces to watch. But while the gymnasts continually change, the coaches do not. Bella Caroli is now a stalwart in the USA's women's gymnastics program. But Bella is not the only great coach in America. Don Peters, Mark Lee, and Kevin Brown are among the best. And of course, one of the strongest programs in America is right here in Allentown. The Parkettes are coached by Bill and Donna Strauss, a husband and wife team that has produced Olympians since 1976.
Really tight with your legs right in line. Point hard, keep the back tight. Let it roll. Come on, right over, and come on. Okay, very, very nice.
Coaching today is more than the X's and O's of the apparatus. It is sophisticated fundraising to pay for equipment and travel and coaches' salaries. This is a sport of dedication, not wealth. And even though gymnastics is a very popular sport, local clubs need financial help. The cost to develop a gymnast is incredible.
Steinbrenner came on the Olympic scene because of sort of a disappointment with the medal production at the Winter Games. And he's right. We don't need people sneaking into a facility at 6 o'clock in the morning to practice. We need those type of people in a facility. We need support from our government. We need support from our industry. Maybe if all industry in the country would pool their resources and we could drain the money from that pool to subsidize the kids, because one thing we're looking at in a facility like this and facilities throughout the country, our greatest natural resources are youth.
We just had a unique situation a couple weeks ago. A corporation came to us and said, what can we do? And they gave a nice little donation because they had watched the Winter Games and they felt they had to do their share. They wanted to be a part, and they said they feel like if a Parkette gymnast is on the '88 Olympic team, they've had a part in it. And that was just the greatest feeling. We want 500 corporations to do that type of thing.
So the money, although it's there, the millions, and it's getting filtered, but it isn't getting all the way to the bottom.
Right, exactly.
The beginning level, the grassroots
We
level.
find that a lot of the corporate donations, they want the limelight. So if there's a big national, international competition, they will sponsor it, and the governing body gets those funds, which they need to keep operating. But the little guys, the private clubs who are producing the athletes, they also need financial aid to keep their doors open and to keep producing.
So I would have to say, Peter and Kathy, that the moral of this story is corporate sponsorship has to start at the local level, like the local company that helped out here in Allentown at Parkettes. That's got to happen to all of our amateur sports across the board, but we're talking about gymnastics now, and the money is not there. We are looking in this arena at over $100,000 worth of equipment. Now, we're not talking about insurance. We're not talking about coaches' salaries or the money to rent this arena. We're talking about just the hardware. This is an expensive sport.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think that that money is starting to go to the right places. The U.S. Gymnastics Federation is aware of that. They're putting more money into the program, and that's what needs to happen. But it has to go down to the grassroots level. They made a very strong impact on me there with that statement that the money doesn't go down to the little kids.
All right. Hopefully we've made a point in corporate America. I hope you're listening. We'll be back with the third round of the mixed pairs in a moment. We have our three pairs going into the finals, and these events are going to be packed with difficulty. You're in for an eye-opener. First on the balance beam, then the P-bars. Then the Soviet Union will go second with floor exercise and parallel bars. And then the United States tandem of Phoebe Mills and Kevin Davis. Phoebe Mills also going on floor, Davis on pommel horse. Right now, let's get in order. The balance beam is our next event, and this is Gabriela Kotarat.
Now this is where Gabriela had some problems at the American Cup. She fell from the balance beam, but normally she is really tough here. Round off, lay out, step out onto the beam. Little hesitation there. Tough pass, lay out, step out.
Now she rallied from a bobbled start. I'm impressed.
That balance break won't count much at all. 110. Pirouettes. Always a crowd favorite.
Listen to this crowd. I mean, here we are in the USA, and they're cheering the Romanians. They're cheering good gymnastics.
Now, I like that pass. A little unusual. She did a shoulder roll right into a back extension roll.
Check 1, 2.
Solid footwork. Back handspring. Layout pipe. Only break so far is the mount, as I said.
And I
Very
forgot
minor.
that.
And the judges might just forget it as well. Here's a dismount. Very difficult. Round off back, handspring, double back. One step. Again, a minor deduction.
Gabriela Kotarat, 15 years of age.
This is my favorite pass. Back handspring, layout, step out, immediate layout, step out. It's a very risky dismount she does. Round off, back handspring to 2 feet, right into a double back.
A fine performance and a tough event to pick for your last one, the balance beam, because anything can happen there. Her partner, Marios Toba, competing on the parallel bars.
Now, Toba is the 3 events that he picked for this competition are the 3 events in which he scored the highest at the American Cup. So he's doing it smart right now. This is going to be probably his best event, parallel bars. In the past, it hasn't been a super exciting event, but in the last few years, boy, has it really become exciting. There's flare work, circles, a planche. There's another Healy twirl. Healy twirl. Right into a front straddle 1 1/4. Beautiful trick. That takes a lot of power. There's a Stutz. Double back. 1 step. It's going to be a deduction. That was a very solid parallel bar routine.
.15 separates first from third place exiting the second round. So anything could happen in this third round, and the Romanians certainly have put the pressure on. A beautiful balance beam routine. And now this parallel bar routine.
Now here's that Healy twirl, and he catches his hand early enough to go right into that front straddle 1 1/4. That's very, very tough. Now he dismounts with a double tuck, probably the most standard dismount on parallel bars. But he takes a step. That's a mandatory deduction. But the routine as a whole is very, very good. He scored a 9.85 in this at the American Cup.
Speaking of scores, Gabriela Potorok received a 9.8 for her balance sheet performance. Now we are waiting for the parallel bar score. And he too received a 9.80. So 19.6 will be added to their total of 39.025. 58.625 is the total for this team. That is now the score to beat. 58.625. That's their combined score for this rotation. That puts the pressure on the Soviet Union and the USA. And let's now talk about the Soviet Union. Svetlana Bayatova is on the floor.
Full twisting double back. Good landing. This routine is just delightful. The crowd immediately responds. Now the most spectacular part of her floor routine comes in the middle pass. You can't even call it 1 pass. It's actually 2 passes combined. Just round off back handspring, 1 1/2 twist step out, to a double twist punch front, step out, tumble back the other direction to a layout punch 1 1/4.
That's like an Olympic swimmer holding his breath for 2 lengths of the pole.
I would hate to have to train that routine.
What a combination.
It would be hard to have energy after that. But as you'll see, she definitely has some. She usually finishes with a triple twist. We'll see what she does. And a beautiful triple twist. Landed with her legs a little staggered, but oh, a gorgeous routine.
And the hands are clapping, and she smiled and waved to the crowd. Svetlana Bayatova.
Now look at this middle pass. 1 1/2 twist step out. Through to a double twist. Punches right into a front somersault, step out. Layout somersault, punch 1 1/4 somersault. And it looks so easy.
Yes.
And here's her final pass. It's very difficult to end with a triple twist, and done so well. As I said, she landed with her feet a little staggered.
Igor Korobchinsky, her partner, about to compete on the parallel bars. Her score for floor X very quickly is 9.9.
This is also a great event for Korobchinsky. Here he goes. Giant. Stutz. Real clean body line. Here's a Healy twirl. Back Stutz to another Healy twirl. Very, very fluid. Korobchinsky is very, very solid on parallel bars. Diamidov 1 1/4. Straddle up. Ooh, almost put his legs up there on the bar. That would have been a deduction. Beautiful double back. Nice landing. Nice pop off the bar.
If it's better than 9.525, they're the leaders. What do you think?
Oh, definitely better than 9.525. It would be a very, very high score. Now here's a trick called a Healy twirl. Right into a back Stutz. Into another Healy twirl. Top pirouette right to a handstand. Now here's the dismount. It's a double back flip. Gets a nice pop off the bar. First goes to Diamidov 1 1/4. This is where his legs got stuck a little bit on the bar. I don't think they're really going to take much off at all. The double back is very, very high, opens up, and lands just perfectly.
If their combined total is better than 19.425, they will be the new leaders, really putting the pressure on Phoebe Mills and Kevin Davis. And this is exactly how you want this meet to go. You want everybody to hit in the final round, and they're doing that. His